Hey everybody, David here, and I am back with another video. Hopefully you all are doing well, and in today's video I got a subscriber requested video for you all, and that subscriber wanted to know some good day and night combos. Now, I wanted to spice this one up a little bit. I just didn't want to include stuff from different brands because that would be a little bit too easy. So the two caveats I got on here are, first thing, is from fragrance brands or fragrances I haven't really touched on the channel. I might have talked about the brand once or twice, but I wanted to give some other fragrance brands in my collection some love that I have not touched on yet. And then also too, I wanted to keep this between the brands. So what I mean by that is one daytime from the brand, daytime scent, and one nighttime scent. And I got a lot of scents over here. I got some niche, got some designer, and I got some high-end designer, and I got some low-end niche, I guess you could say. I don't really know what I count this brand I got on here, but I really enjoy their fragrances. And yeah, I got a lot over here, so let's hop into this video. So, first fragrance we're going to be talking about is from a designer house that's pretty pricey, especially if you get their private blend fragrances. And I bet based off that, you know what house I'm talking about. And I'm talking about the house of Tom Ford, but I don't got the private blend fragrances on here. I wanted to give you a little cheaper option, I will say. But the first one from Tom Ford for the daytime I'm going to be taking is Costa Azzurra Parfum. This one is citrus, fresh, woody, and aquatic. And I'm not going to be, since I got a lot of fragrances over here, I'm not going to be touching on a lot of the notes on here. I'm just going to kind of go through it real quick. But I got to sample this, really enjoyed it. And it's a really gentleman-esque scent, I guess you could say. And that lemon in here, so there's lemon, cypress, and oak wood. And it just does the job for me in that daytime. I had to get the big bottle, of course. And the Costa Azzurra Parfum, it leaves a very nice scent trail with it too. I really like that lemon in there. And that lemon's pretty prominent too, all the way to that dry down. You get that woods in there with the cypress and the oak wood. But overall, I'll be taking Costa Azzurra Parfum for the day. And then the night, you got no other than Ombre Lover in there. This one, probably one of my favorite leather scents, I will say. It's got a black leather note in there. Very nicely done. And there's a reason why. I think I saw something that this is one of the top selling fragrances in the Tom Ford line, and there's a reason why. And man, this one's very nicely done. Ombre leather, I never get tired of that smell, and that would be my nighttime scent. You know, in the summer and spring, you might have to dial back the sprays at the nighttime, but you know, I'd be willing to wear that in that summer night or spring night. Now, it's leathery, spicy, sweet. You got a little cardamom off the top to give it a little sweetness. Saffron, I do get that saffron in the opening. Black leather, patchouli, vetiver, and then in the base you got some white moss and amber. And I do get the amber. This one is it's a very appealing leather scent. Sometimes leather scents can be hard to wear, but this one, very good. Very, it has a good projection to it as well, and leaves a good scent bubble around you. And kind of like the Costa Azzurra Parfum, this one's going to leave that good scent trail as well. So daytime Costa Azzurra Parfum, nighttime going with Ombre Lover from Tom Ford. And you know, I wanted to challenge myself a little bit from my collection, so don't be afraid to mix and match these. You know, use them how you want, but make sure, I always want to mention, this is my disclaimer, sample these before you get them if you have not tried them yet. Okay, that's very important when you come to fragrances. I don't want you guys wasting your money, especially how much these go for retail, and discounters too. These aren't particularly cheap. So next one, this is the house I'm kind of confused by. I think they're considered a designer, so we'll go with it. But I really enjoy their scents. They make luggage. So the daytime scent, and this is a new arrival for me, and this is Atlas. I wore this one yesterday to work. Very, very appealing, freshy for sure for the daytime. And it's got a cool locking mechanism with their cap. So you kind of twist that, and then it locks in place, and you can hold it by the cap. So I got that big honking bottle. And like I said, these are very cheap from, if you can get them from a discounter or wherever you can get discounted scents. These are cheap compared to what you bought them at retail. But retail, for what fragrances are going for these days, these are still really cheap. So Atlas from Toomey, that's the first one we're going for my daytime. It's fresh, spicy, woody, and citrus. This has got in the top, it's got some grapefruit, it's got some bergamot, it's got some amberwood, got some cardamom. And then the heart, this has got some geranium and labdanum. And then the base, you got some vetiver, sandalwood, vetiver, Java vetiver, excuse me, and then some musk. And I do get that vetiver prominent, and it's not a dirty vetiver. It's very clean in this scent. I do get a lot of that citrus. That grapefruit stays around for a while with this fragrance. And I do get the geranium, that flower note in this. And I will say the moss kind of pops out a little bit as this fragrance is drying down. Gives it a nice, good feel. Very clean fragrance. It's very fresh, and it's spicy as well. But then in the night, you know, I was kind of trying to go back and forth on this one because I really enjoy a fragrance from this house, 19 Degrees. I didn't choose that one. That one's kind of a Ventus-esque fragrance, but I went with Continuum from the House of Toomey for my night scent. This one's going to be more of a resinous, in my opinion, scent. It's going to have leather aspects to it, and it's got the locking mechanism, but this would be perfect for that nighttime from Toomey. I got a smaller bottle with that one. So in this one, you're going to get a little freshness with the green mandarin orange up top. You got some amber, you got some frankincense, and the frankincense gives it a little bit of that resinous feel. The amber, I get that from start to finish on this fragrance. And then the heart notes, you got some tobacco leaf and orris root. And then in the base, you got that suede, oud, and musk. And that oud is there. And that tobacco leaf, frankincense, and that suede. That suede isn't too, you know, out there, but you do get that with this fragrance. And with that too, that tobacco leaf gives it a little edge to it. It's kind of a little sweeter tobacco. It's not like a straight like pipe tobacco or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about that. And that frankincense gives it that resinous feel to this fragrance. So Toomey is the next one on this list. Then after that, we got Azzaro. And for my daytime scents, I'm going to be going with Chrome Aqua. Almost dropped it. But this one, could have went with Chrome Extreme, but I chose Chrome Aqua here. Put that right there. So Chrome Aqua here, basically this is going to be fresh, aquatic, green, citrus. Up top, you got some green apple, got some grapefruit, and then you got some vetiver in that base. This one is very fresh, I will say. And you do get a lot of aquatics with this one. I will say more than the extreme version, I get more aquatic feel with this. And I get more of the citrus, and it's fresh. And overall, with this one, that grapefruit is not a grindy grapefruit. It's a creamy, smooth grapefruit, so you don't need to worry about that. And this one lasts pretty well, too. And that, as it dries down, it's going to get more into that woody aspect of the fragrance with that vetiver coming out. But that one, it lasts for, and it's really cheap from discounters for sure. And, you know, some of the chrome ones can be hit or miss, but this is one I really enjoy. And for the nighttime scent from Azzaro, you probably know what this one is already. I'm going to be going with the Most Wanted. Now, they got the Most Wanted Eau de Toilette Intense. I want to get that. That one came out this year. I want to get my hands on it. It's a freshy version of this DNA. But this one's kind of popular, the popular DNA at the moment, I will say, in men's fragrances, or at least at one time during 2022, 2023. And this one's sweet, spicy, synthetic, and a gourmand. So a lot of gourmands are coming out with the feel of this. So in the top, you got some cardamom. In the heart, you got some toffee. And then in the base, you got some bourbon vanilla. And this one's very gourmandish, kind of what I mentioned before. Very sweet. Overall, this fragrance is something that's going to appeal to the masses, and it's going to be something that's going to get you compliments for sure. This is meant to be worn. That toffee note, in my opinion, is to die for in this. I really enjoy pulling this out from time to time, and especially this would be a very good date night scent. And this has got that similar, it's kind of in the same wheelhouse as Stronger With You, but this one is kind of a little bit cheaper and easier to find than the Stronger With You line. The only one you can really find from that line right now is the OG version of it. But this one's a very nicely done fragrance from the House of Azzaro. So that's the next one I'm going to put on the list. So I'm going to kind of move these together a little bit. So I'll put the fresh one up front and then that one in the back. There we go. Actually, I'll switch it up depending on the bottle. There we go. So there we go. Right there, those three. Now, from the House of BDK. So this is BDK Parfums. I got Citrus Riviera here for you. This one, very citrusy, as you can tell in the name. This one, it's a very long-lasting citrus for sure. Like sometimes citrus can be very like only last for a few minutes and that opening and goes away, but this one lasts for a while. It's citrus, fresh, fruity, and it's green and aquatic. This one's got some Italian mandarin orange, lemon off the top. Got some fig in there too. Heart, it's got some orange blossom, eucalyptus and jasmine, and some strawberry. That's kind of a unique note. And then in the base, you got some patchouli, tonka bean, and white musk. This one overall, like I said, that citrus is going to last for a while. I enjoy pulling this one out from the house. I would say this one was a hype beast at one time from the house of BDK, and very enjoyable citrus. And I was really looking for, when I bought this at the time, when I was testing it, a citrus that'll last for a while. And overall, I was not disappointed. That fig gives it a little twist. The strawberry gives it a little twist in the mid. Overall, this is going to be an appealing citrus. It's not... I would say it's in between. It's a little, on the citrus, it's a little grindy, but a little smooth and sweet. And I think the reason why it's a little sweet is that strawberry and then maybe a little bit of that orange blossom and the tonka bean in the base of it. But for the daytime, I would be going with Citrus Riviera from BDK. And then you probably know the second one, but you got to figure out which one I'm talking about here. And this is Gris Charnel Extract. So I went with the extract. I know this is a regular one. I prefer the extract a little bit more. This one was a hype beast as well. Very appealing fragrance here. This is a fragrance from Gris Charnel. It's meant to be worn for sure. It's nothing like, I will say it's a kind of a unique fragrance, but it's a mass appealing fragrance at the same time. You know, you think of a blue fragrance and people are going to be liking it. It's not very unique, but this one is unique, but it's got that mass appeal aspect to it. At the top, it's got some cardamom, it's got some fig and black tea, and then in the heart, it's got some iris in there. It's got some bourbon vetiver. I've never heard of that note. Sorry about that. And then the base, you got some bourbon vanilla absolute, and you got some patchouli and tonka bean in there. This one's spiced, woody, sweet, and creamy, and it's got smoky, and that smoky kind of gives it a little nice difference to a mass appealing fragrance for me. You don't see a lot of mass appealing fragrances kind of be smoky, but with this Gris Charnel, that black tea off the top kind of changes it up a little bit. This is a darker fragrance, but that black tea kind of freshens it. And then you got that iris in there too with that bourbon vetiver, and then the bourbon vanilla absolute gives it a little sweetness. So that bourbon vetiver and then that bourbon vanilla absolute kind of combines together, give it that little bit of bourbon-esque feel, I guess you could say, kind of like from a, you know, you drinking a bourbon or something like that. But very appealing, the Gris Charnel extract here. And that cardamom is very sweet off the top, but it gets equaled out by that smokiness in this fragrance. So, as you can tell, like I said, we got a lot here. And I got two more brands to talk about. So, next one we're going to be talking about is from Guerlain, and this is L'Homme Ideal Parfum Privé. So, this was released last year. This one is my daytime scent from here. It's kind of reminiscent to L'Homme Ideal Cologne from the house, but this one is kind of more, I guess, to the 2023 times, I guess you could say. It's more refined. And when I put this one on, I was blown away. It was very nicely done. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, they had the L'Homme Ideal Cologne, but I prefer this one a little bit more here. And it's got citrus, fresh, creamy, and basically it's got grapefruit, it's got some green almond, Haitian vetiver, and pink pepper. And overall, you do get that creaminess mixing with that citrus throughout the whole fragrance here. And as it dries down, it's going to get a little bit more woody, and that creaminess makes it give it a little sweet aspect to it. And that green almond is prominent in here. It kind of ties it back to the other fragrances in the line, which we'll be talking about one here next, which is no other than L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum. I went with the Eau de Parfum. I was going to go with the Extreme, but I wanted to go with the Eau de Parfum. I feel like the Extreme gets a lot of love, especially in the community. I mean, this one does too, but over the two, I wanted to touch on this one today. And you got that almond prominent in this one as well to tie it back to the OG. Claimer and bottles there. And this this is basically a gourmand. It's spicy, it's leathery, and it's sweet. You got some almond, you got some spices, bergamot up top. Bergamot's going to give it a little freshness up top. And then you got some vanilla, you got some rose in here, and frankincense in the mid, and then tonka bean and leathery notes in that base to give it more of a leather aspect. And I will say this is an easy to wear leather. This isn't like ombre leather where it's fully bore leather on you. This is going to have a little bit more of that almond, that vanilla, and that frankincense in it. They give it that gourmand-esque feel with the vanilla in there. So I get a little bit more with that. And then that tonka bean gives it that sweet gourmand feel as well. So overall, that almond, these fragrances are known for the almond, and they do it in a very nicely done way for sure. So you're never going to go wrong with Guerlain. And these are fragrances, they're considered a niche house, but these are meant to compete with the designers. And it's kind of cool how they really put the aspect around the almond, because I really enjoy the ways they use it. It's kind of in a unique sense using this almond. You know, green almond here, regular almond here, but that almond is prominent in these fragrances for sure. So if you like your gourmand-esque fragrances, this one would be the one I would go for. Or L'Homme Ideal Extreme. I know they just came out with some parfum flankers in the line of the L'Homme Ideal, but these are the two I'm going to be going with today. And then last but not least is from a niche house, Nashane. And these are very cheap from discounters. You can get these at a very good price overall. Let me line these up to pull these other two out. So there we go. So first one I got, this is a mass appealer. This is Ventus DNA. It's Hassavat from the house. And I would take this over a Ventus for sure. This one has got a very juicy pineapple note in here to my nose, and I really enjoy wearing this. The longevity's good, the projection's good. This one's fruity, fresh, green, and citrusy. It's got that pineapple, that juicy pineapple note, grapefruit, bergamot up top, heart. It's got some cedarwood, patchouli, and then in the base it's got some oak moss, and it's got some dry woods to help it last for a while. And as the fragrance dries down, that citrus is still going to be there, but those woods are going to kind of take over longer. And the woods, it kind of gets into that smoky woods, if you would make sense. So like I said, it's got some ties to that Aventus DNA, and the woods are kind of smoky going, I will say. But that grapefruit is more juicy in here, because there's a lot of batch variation apparently with the Ventus, but this Nashane here, I prefer it over the Ventus. It lasts longer off my skin. That pineapple is a very appealing pineapple, and this a fragrance here, it's made to be worn. Now last and not least on this list of night and day fragrances from all these different houses is Nashane, and this is Nefs. Now, this one barely missed out on my Holy Grail fragrances. Only reason it didn't make it on there was because it's just, you have to use this in certain times, I will say. But man, this is from the house, my favorite fragrance from the house. I just had to get another sniff in there. I really enjoy Hassavat, but this one, Nefs, this one's crazy to me. So let's hop into Nefs. Basically, it's sweet, spicy, oriental, and woody, and it's got that honey note, very, very good honey note in this fragrance. It's got some fig, got some saffron, got some violet, and then in that mid, you got some rose, you got some osmanthus, you got jasmine. This is a very floral fragrance as well, and I will say that the sweeter notes equal out the florals. So it's not too floral that it's fully feminine, but this is a unisex fragrance. A man can pull this off just as well as a woman could. And in the base, you got that whiskey, you got cedarwood, you got cinnamon, you got leather, you got oud, and you got vanilla. And I do get all those notes in this base here. This is just a well-refined fragrance. Nothing about it will be like, there's no, basically, you can call the Azzaro here synthetic. This one you can't call synthetic. These notes are blended well. This is excellent perfumery, whoever made this fragrance. I don't know who made this one. So, but these two right here, these Nashanes, and this one's going to be more expensive from a discounter, but this one you can get pretty reasonable price with the Nashane here. But this one would be a great date night fragrance, will be a great night fragrance. And I was just going to say, for the spring and summer, you might want to dial back your sprays, because this is a beast mode. But that honey, that fig in here, and then that whiskey and the cinnamon, it's just, and the vanilla, it's just to die for. And the oud's not animalic at all, so you're not going to get something barnyard-esque. This is more leaning on those sweet and floral notes with the Nashane Nefs. So yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed this video about day and night fragrances from each brand. Like I said, I came up with those caveats. It was kind of challenging, but I wanted to let you all know, like, hey, you can, if you really feel a brand, you can just get a day and night scent from them. But hey, mix and match these as well. Feel free to try them out. Make sure you get your samples. Let me know in the comments down below what your day and night scents are. I'd be very interested to hear. And thank you for watching this video. I know it's pretty long, but I wanted to touch over all these fragrances, really enjoying them at the time. And yeah, also let me know if you've tried any of these fragrances in the comments down below. So with all that being said, I will see you on the next one.